So a couple of things to start with on movement patterns, so that people know, so they don't know, they just refresh. This is just kind of a quick one. Like why movement patterns matter, both for athletes and the average person. It's basic. The movement patterns in the gym are basically isolated patterns from squat, hinge, lunge, push, pull, carry. This picture kind of showed it. And then where we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, right? And then I think we wanted to talk a little bit about like screens on this slide, right? Movement screens, creating like screen stuff. I think we talked about it a long time ago, maybe it was summer. But just coming up with like a standard screening process, you can get any how people move, and then kind of okay, where are the weak points, and then that will help you know like, oh, they will squat or push or pull or hinge. So like I don't have a slide on it, I can pull like in my spreadsheets, but my movement screens I basically just start with some joint testing, like just general ability stuff, like how does your ankle move, how does your spine move, your shoulder move, and then those joints relate to how ankle moves. So like someone squat, if you sort of squat, their squat might not look good, but then you're like, okay, why does their squat not look good? Is it tight ankles, weak glutes, more core strength, bad posture, all that stuff. So that's why I like to start with the like, joint mobility and then I'll go to movement screens. Movement screen I use is just basically a variation of the functional movement screen, which is overhead squat, inline lunge, stability push-up, trunk rotation, and then single leg balance.
For movements, yeah, I'll put them through a windmill, squat. Yeah, I'll do it just, yeah, most people can't. Like, yeah, but windmill, squat. I do windmills, squats, overhead press. I'll do like ankle mobility stuff, you know, put them through like a lunge. And yeah.
So my ankle mobility is like a 5-inch ankle test.
From the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do like arm circles on the wall. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go all the way around and see, measure the gap between their shoulder and the wall from here. And then as time goes on, that gap should get smaller.
So yeah, so that's that. We can so that's that one. So then moving on, these are the 6 patterns that I kind of alluded to already: squat, hinge, single leg, push pull, and then carry and carry forward. On the last slide, we saw gait, which is kind of walking pattern. So I also kind of put that in carry while walking. So those are the 6 patterns. So basically, when it comes to progressions and designing workouts, like I basically just say like it's a full body workout. You just do one of those, and then just 6 exercises. And then if it's upper lower like a 4-day split, then you basically just your upper body moves to 4, 5, 6, your lower body moves to 1, 2, 3, and then you just tag in some isolation stuff at the end. It's like oh, we're doing some hamstring stuff, some calves, or some bicep, tricep, some shoulder. And that basically makes it super easy to start a program, start a sheet. So that's probably when we go back to the spreadsheet. That's kind of what I'll be writing in. So that way we know kind of where these come from and how it makes it easy to start like a general template, and you can map out a long time in the future. But obviously, that just gives you the general guide because chances are most people are not going to progress in the timeline you plan out. So these things are still like it's not like set in stone. So 3 fundamental movement planes. Movement patterns, how I move, and movement planes are kind of where those movements occur. So sagittal plane basically just things like forward or backward or up and down. So you basically just think like squatting, bench press, rows, pull downs, deadlifts, lunges, front to back, up and down, satchel. Frontal plane is like side to side movements. There's a lot of movements. So lateral raises, where you're moving up to the side. Lateral lunges, you're moving to the side. Suitcase carrying, it's loading the side. Even though you're walking the sagittal plane, the stress is mostly in the front. Then transverse rotational. This was the one like when I was first learning plank, it's hard for me to grasp a little bit because I was like, well, you're technically moving when you go lateral and moving in that transverse plane when I look at it. But it's more about how the body orients, so it's more about the rotational component. In general, it's going to be like the hardest one to do because it involves like the most complexity and stability. So in programming as well, when I write stuff, I usually try to get people who do the sagittal plane already. Maybe go frontal and then transverse. So that could be a 3-month program. You're going to do 1 month sagittal plane stuff, 1 month introducing frontal plane, and then 1 month more transverse and rotational. And rotational pairs well with power training. So you can think like hypertrophy, strength, power, sagittal, frontal, transverse. So those are just examples. That's kind of just what I touched on. Basically, this is the movement plane progression. So most people live in the sagittal plane. We're all walking that way. We don't really, take random steps to the side like someone's on the path. So, in terms of that, I would say start the sagittal plane, progressively frontal, advance to transverse. But when we were talking about this last week, it is important for
I don't think it was on.
Oh,
It's on.
green light. So like what we were talking about with this slide last week was, what if it's like a group workout and some of these people might, because they live in the sagittal plane, they might not be exposed to it. So that's where I think exercise selection comes into play, or adding like regressions in a group workout. So in a group workout, like Ryan, a lot of his programs, they have all 3 movements. There's some rotation, some lateral movement, some sagittal. So then that's just where knowing like, oh, if you can't do like a landmine rotation, let's just have you do like a Russian twist on the ground. So that way they can kind of get a little bit of it all at once, to kind of balance things out for them. But in general, the transverse plane is going to be the hardest. So that's where it's just kind of knowing the ability of the person, because some of like what we were talking about with the overhead squat, some people can't do it. So like having like a regression for it helps them feel like they can do something, and then they're not like super upset and like, oh, I suck at everything I do, kind of idea. But that's just kind of the progression framework I typically stick with. And from like an athlete perspective, with the people I work with, most of our off-season training is going to be the sagittal plane, because it has the most stability and structure. So you're going to be able to develop the most strength there. So that's why for off-season, if you're trying to get strength, just get good at squats. Then you get closer to season, you add more dynamic moves like lateral lunges and rotational work, and all of that comes later. So there's this thing in training athletes, especially on Instagram, where they want to make like everything look like their sport. And if every move in the gym doesn't look like a move in the sport, they think it doesn't work. So there's a lot of like glorification on Instagram about like, especially in golf, because I work with a lot of golfers. It's like a lot of Instagram pages, they just show golf moves. So then golfers get this idea that the only way to get better in the gym is to do more golf in the gym, which is not necessarily the case. So that's one I have to like grapple with a lot of the parents of golfers. They're like, well, why did my kid have to do a squat? When are they squatting on the golf course, for example? So good to know that. So getting into the first progression, squat. We talked about this a little bit with Alex last week. What we were saying on her squat, for example, is like her ankles kind of collapsing a little bit. So that goes back to the tripod foot. So I don't know if any of you guys coach that. That's how I coach it. Tripod foot basically just means like create a tripod with your foot. So balance your weight front to back, side to side between your big toe, pinky toe, and heel. So you get this little tripod. And then from there, I say grab the floor or pick up like the earth with sand, or you're on sand. Pick up the floor, that activates your arch, and then rip the floor in half. And then that creates a little torque and then sets your hip and knee in a proper alignment. So that's kind of what I do. What?
It's just like so graphic for like just rip the floor.
Yeah. So a better way of saying is like imagine. So once you're in your
I say you pretend like we're in a squat. I say you pretend like you're standing on a big.
No.
Pretend like you're standing on a big piece of paper.
That's what I left out was saying there's a piece of paper underneath
exactly
your feet
like you.
And rip the piece of paper in half without actually moving your foot. So yeah, so when you not rip the floor, grab the floor, rip the paper, okay, and then now you have that torque. Yeah,
that's exactly the cue I use.
Yeah, hinges next. We got progression, but oh god, yeah.
The which one? Oh, like your butt. Like your butt is the flashlight one. Yeah. Yeah, it's like your butt is a flashlight, and you want to shine the light behind you.
That's a funny one.
I've only said that like once. I forgot about that one, to be fair. But I do foot assessments as well. When I get a new client, I have them take their shoes off and I go through their toes.
Do you have them walk? Like, do you do it that way, or do you just kind of
I have them sit down and I do like I'll have them either like pull a towel with their feet to see if they ever have the ability to like pull like that, and I'll have them like do piano with their toes to open and close them, and then I'll have them like keep their 4 toes on the floor and pick up their big toe, see if they can do that. Then I'll have them keep their big toe on the floor and see if they can pick up their 4 toes, all while keeping like that tripod like pressure, and then you can see where their ankles break and shit like that.
You're like saying all this, and I'm like practicing.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's why, but you can't do it in those shoes because your shoes aren't letting your toes spread.
I know, but like I always do it a minimal.
Yeah, that's why I tell people to take their shoes off in class all the time.
And before like But before the big toe shoes, open-toed shoes got super popular. When I was growing up, I used to I had this ability to spread my toes really far, so I'd call like my feet foot hands, and I'd always grab stuff up, and I always thought it was weird for it. And then big-toed shoes got popular, and I was like, oh, I actually have normal feet. Everybody else's feet are weird.
Yeah, I still do that. Yeah.
Oh, I am, yeah, because I can spread them pretty far, so it does almost look like my hand like that. It is weird looking.
That's what your toes are supposed to look like.
But exactly. So, so that's that one. Common faults are like knee cave, so knees coming in, and then that can come from whether it be glute weakness or the inability to do like the tripod foot. So that's one. Butt wink, that's usually just they don't have the hip mobility or core bracing to keep their pelvis in the right alignment, and then heel lifting is just not usually sitting back enough and getting too much in the toes. Progressions. There's a slide later. I'll just mention it now, but kind of how progression works is basically you want to like start with like the easiest, simplest option for somebody, and then you can progress through adding more complex loading patterns. So you could go from goblet to like offset to 2 arms to front squat, back squat, overhead squat, and then all your specialty bars, accommodating resistance, and all of that. And then regressions. I mean, kind of basic stuff, if they can't squat, start them with something that teaches them the squat. So like sitting up against a wall with a yoga ball, using a TRX with an assist, box squats to a band. So like if someone has like a lot of knee cave, that's kind of what this is here. You can't, if you see the little red, I think that's actually a hip circle. Those might be his underwear or his little sliders. Yeah, that's Squat University. He's got a great book, by the way. If you haven't gotten his book, I bought it. It's really good.
I haven't, but he puts out a lot of really good
Yeah.
information.
No, the book, it's got a lot of good. It's basically PT level stuff for the layman or the trainer to use. So he's got a lot of like, oh, if you have knee cave in your squat, these are the screens you should do to figure out where it comes from and the corrections to do to fix it. So like if you're working with somebody on like corrective exercises or you just want to improve your screening process, that book basically has everything. And it's really good. And everything that I tried out of that book works. So it's a good book. Then the hinge. So now we're at the flashlight part.
Literally said that like one time.
The one I use, at least with the kids, is belt buckle flashlight. No, I don't use that one with them. I just tell them if you had a belt on, get your belt buckle pointing to the floor. So to keep your back straight and get your belt buckle to the floor. So it helps teach them like that in between their feet. And then we talked about like if they have a problem with rounding, I have them grab like a dowel or the PVC pipe, hand here, hold it here. That hand can't leave your back because if you round, that hand will come off. And then I have them, because then another thing you'll see with the kids is like they'll do that when they want to hinge, like they'll do something like that. So then I'll tell them put your calves back up against the bench. Your hand can't leave your back and your calves can't leave the bench. Belt buckle to the floor. And then those three kind of usually fix it right there. So those are my tips I give with the hinge. And then once they actually have the weight, the other one I see is like a lot of people, they kind of lean or go forward with the weight. So I just say keep the bar close. Is basically what I say. So that's that. Same kind of idea as the goblet squat or the squat. Start simple. With deadlift particularly, like you don't always need to start from the ground, especially if people can't get into a good hinge. So like start at a level where they can hinge properly, and then you just go down to the ground. That's the first level of progression. Then you can add complexity with like the trap bar, then deadlift and all the different grip positions and all of that. So that's hinge. Hinge regression. So like we were talking about, use the PVC pipe. I've never really tried this one, like the little good morning or the child's pose kind of thing, but I guess it would work. Good mornings are a good one. Like that's what we kind of built out last week was if they're still having a hard time with the hinge, with the dowel and the calves and the belt buckle, you just put a band around their waist and then that band pulls them back into the hinge. And then if they still doesn't work, then throw the flashlight at them is what I'd say. Put all four. Yeah.
I do that new one that you saw with the band. Those girls.
This one? That's my favorite one now.
You do that too?
No,
Oh.
I want to use it, and it's really good.
That one, or like Ryan showed me a long time ago, like if this is for single leg, and you do one knee on the bench. You done that?
Just demonstrate.
It won't allow you to bend down more.
Oh yeah.
And then it pushes you into a hinge.
Yeah.
Like almost like automatically.
Another one I've used a single leg is if you had the stick, you just put the stick on the foot that's in
Pressure
the
on
air.
my knee still feels weird.
Then you just go here, and then they just go back with that.
Yeah.
So then they can work on, because like a lot of people when they go single leg, like they'll get here, and that leg doesn't go back. They're not engaging that glute, so this forces them. Yeah.
With the band one too.
The other one I'll say is like imagine like there's a string connecting this shoulder and this heel. So like everywhere this shoulder goes, that heel has to follow.
Imagine there's a string PVC pipe and a flashlight.
And a band.
And a band. And a single leg on the bench. I'll put your
Yeah.
buckle to the ground. And then you can
Then that's like a golf.
Weird how we can just say this shit though, like it just spits out like da, 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 da.
Yep.
It's weird.
I like it. Because all of them work.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it at the end of the day, and that's why it's good having all these, is everybody responds to them differently. So you just got to have like the one, know the person, figure out what works for them.
That's why I like the goofy cues too.
Uh-huh.
People like clicks.
Single leg, this one, the main thing I said on this one last week was like, especially with like the youth athletes and youth clients in the group, is a lot of them want to get to barbell super quickly, but they can barely even like squat their body weight in like a lunge. So I'm like, you're never going to get strong as you could on bilateral lift if you suck unilaterally. So that's where, most people don't like single leg work or single arm work, but that's what will help you with the double arm stuff. So it is important. It is important. Progression. So like this is a good progression model. So you can either progress through this if like you get a single leg, or if you're doing like a 3-day full body. Like we were talking about, if you did lunge, a single leg variation all 3 days. Now I got a pointer. I like it. This would be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you do a static supported. So that's something where like your single leg, but the other leg supported. So it could be a rear foot elevated split squat. It could be a normal split squat, a lunge without movement. So just going up and down. And then static unsupported. That's when you can do like your single leg RDLs, pistol squats, single leg squats. And then last one, dynamic lunges, step up, something where everything's moving. So that's the progression model. If we build it out and we do 3-day, that's what I'll be using. Single leg progression, same kind of idea. Start simple, add weight, add depth, range of motion, add weight, all of that. Okay. Push. So push, there's two main pushes, horizontal and vertical. And then if you're doing a 3-day split, I just put the incline or a push up as a third day. But as well, based on kind of the degree of the bench, incline could fit horizontal or vertical. Basically at 45 degrees or higher, it's going to be more shoulder. 30 to 45 is kind of the general spot I put it. And then that'll be like a combination of chest and shoulder. And then less than 30 degrees will be more chest. So like from an athlete perspective, like earlier in the off season, we'll go 45, then we'll go 30 to 45 for the bulk of their off season. And then close to season, we'll go down to less than 30 degrees. Main reason for that, at least with the sports I work with, which are a lot of overhead and throwing, is it's healthier on the shoulder joint because they're doing a lot of overhead movement out in their sport. So we want to minimize stress on the shoulder. So that'll be 30 degrees. That's good to know too, though. For like older adults, people with impingement and shoulder issues, a lot of them like, oh, I get a pinch when I go overhead or I can't lift the weight. You can still do an incline, just drop it down to like 30 degrees or have them do like a landmine. So landmine's a good variation for overhead or incline pressing for people who have shoulder problems. And then that way you can kind of still get bench and still get some shoulder work through that. So those are those ones. Same progression concept. It's the concepts are all the same. Start easy, add depth, range of motion, add weight, add complexity. Regression, same kind of idea. Wall push-up, incline, all that. Pull, same idea. Horizontal, vertical. The one that I would say kind of fits the incline, similar concept is like I've always found TRX rows and inverted rows. I'm always like, well, it's kind of more like a pull-up in the concept you're pulling up your body weight, but the plane and muscle is a little bit more specific to the row. So that's one. Similarly, like if I have like bench press, pull down, and overhead press row days, then that third day I'll probably do like inverted rows and incline push-up or incline rows, incline bench press. And then that way I can build out 3 days super easy. And again, I'm going over all this, and when we go to the spreadsheet, it'll be a lot easier for me to write them down, and you're not like, where did you get that from? Progression. So I just made 2 different columns, one for rows and one for pull-ups. This is so like, and this is one I want to touch on since that's your main goal for your avatar is pull-ups. I usually start eccentric or negatives. So I have them just work on controlling their weight down first. Then once they get good at that, I'll go to isometrics next. The isometric I like to use are 2 stops. So like pull yourself up, hold for 2 seconds above, go halfway down or about 90 degrees or just past 90 degrees, hold for 2 seconds, and then go all the way down. If you can pull up, but then just step back up to the top and then go down. Then I'll go to the assisted with the band. So now they're actually pulling themselves up, but they have the band to deload it, at least at the hardest parts, the bottom. And then they'll actually do a pull-up. And then once they get good at that, they do weighted. So while we're here, what's for whether your client has just said, or your avatar has said, I just want to do 1 pull-up, or if you have a number in mind, like what's the goal number of pull-ups? 1 pull-up?
Yeah.
That's just for this year.
Oh, this for her, yeah.
Pull-up?
A pull-up.
She
can't do a single one.
Pull-up? I don't even know. Yeah, that's
yeah, right? It only takes 1 to save your life.
No, that's a Wayne's
So Alex
World.
just said,
Wayne's World joke. Pull-up?
pull-up.
I don't even own a gun. I don't need a gun rack yet. Nonetheless, so okay, 1 pull-up. Squirrel. So I'll pull up, but then after, let's say they get to a pull up, let's say we built out a whole year, like that sheet I had. Let's say they get to 1 pull up before the end of the year. What's a good, like, or just for any of your clients, what's the total number of pull ups you want people to get to? Do you have a number, or is it just like as many as you can?
I mean, if I could get to a client where they're doing anywhere between 5 and 10 full range of motion pull ups, that's amazing.
Perfect. And that's kind of the number I go for. It's like 5 to 10. Once you can get to 10 pull ups, like, yeah, you can keep going and you can go to 12, 15, 20 pull-ups, but I would rather you start doing work in that same progression again, but with weight. You'll get more out of that than push into 20 pull-ups. I would start the cycle back over at 1. Let's do 1 with a 5-pound plate or a 10 or 20 and then work that way. So for like my athletes, like for men, I try to get them like 8 to 10 body weight pull-ups, and then we'll go back and we'll do 1 to 3 with weight. and then 3 to 5, and then 5 to 8, and then 8 to 10. And then women, I try to get like 5 to 8 body weight, and then same kind of progression. See, those are the regressions. Ooh, battery's low. We got 10%. I think it'll survive. TRX inverted, and then you can add like feet elevated. Core, I break up core into 3 different categories because again, it makes it easy to build out in a 3-day workout. Is anterior core, lateral core, and rotary core. And then those are kind of fit the 3 movement planes as well: sagittal, frontal, transverse. You can actually move in it, or you can resist the movement in those planes. So that's kind of the anti. Otherwise, you're doing rotation, flexion, extension, all of that. And then these are the core progressions that I use. So like with carries, I usually start with 1, get them used to stabilizing one side, then go to 2 farmer carry. And then if you wanted, you could do like the offset down at the end. That could be 1 heavier, 1 lighter. So it's kind of like you got to counterbalance like a suitcase, but you're carrying both on the same side. And then I'll get them good at overhead carries too. So you can do like front rack, just holding here. You can do like a bottoms up kettlebell, a waiter carry where it's actually just here in your wrist, or you're just holding the dumbbell like a waiter's dish. Then you go overhead, and one of my favorites is called a Statue of Liberty. So you have 1 overhead, 1 down below. And then core, same kind of idea. Start on the ground, then work off the ground, and then work with rotation. And then I think that's the last. Oh, no, it's not. Putting it together. So like I said, if you're doing a 3-day workout, just pick 1 movement for each. And then if you have like a main lower body movement, a main upper body movement, so those like your strength exercises, I put them by themselves. So A, squat, we're gonna do front squat, and then B, push, we're gonna do bench press. Then when you go to picking the pull and the hinge, that's the opposite side. You just kind of pick one of the movement planes. So pull, do you want to do horizontal, vertical? I did vertical, so chin-ups. And then hinge, do you want to do double leg, single leg? We're doing double leg RDLs or dumbbell RDLs. Then you go into the single leg option, reverse lunge, and then core, side plank. And it's super easy. And then you can just do this, and then you go, okay, after front squat, we're going to go to back squat. Bench press, incline press, chin up, pull up, RDL, barbell RDL, lunge to lateral lunge, side plank to elbow plank. And it gets super fast and easy to progress. And then finally, that's what I was saying about progression. Progression, you always add volume or reps and sets first, then add load and complexity last. So that's another way that you could write a 3-month program. This could be your program for 3 months. Month 1 is volume, month 2 is weight, and then month 3 is complexity, where now maybe you actually change the variation or something like that. And then I think I have one on a 4-day. Yeah. So then if you did 4-day, like I was saying before, is now you just pull out the lower body 3 and the upper body 3, and then you just add in some assistance work around it. So same front squat, and then your main hinge or posterior work, RDL, and then you just pick an assistance for each lower. It's going to be the reverse lunge, hamstring curl, and then side plank. And then you can add, if you want to fill out the workout a little bit more, you do accessory stuff. So you can do like calf raises, glute bridges, stuff like that. And then an upper body, same idea. Now we did the horizontal plane here. So now we just add the vertical, and we did the vertical here. So now we just add the horizontal there, and then core. So that's why I use these patterns, because it makes it easy to program. And then those are just kind of scenarios. So we'll be good. It's gonna plug in my computer, but we'll be good. And then common mistakes is just kind of loading too quickly before getting good at technique. So the best way to get good at technique is to add volume, reps, days, frequency, and then you add weight and complexity as you go. So that's that one. So let's go back to our spreadsheet. 1 second. Un momentito. Stop.
Everyone wishing you happy birthday on the chat, right?
That's that. Oh, wrong TV. Whoop. Okay, so now we're back here. So let's zoom in. Zoom. So we left off on this is we just put the year calendar on there, and then we broke it up into 4 blocks. So 3-month blocks, and then each like mesocycle, and then we broke it down into 3 phases for each. So like this is where you could do what I was talking about, volume, load, complexity, if you wanted to label it that way. And then now you just do that over and over again, and then you have a test week here. Oh, I hate that that's not centered. Hold on. We got to start over.
Oh no, look at that one.
No, it's all fixed now. Oh, and there's no underline on this. God dang it. Okay, my OCD's better now. Okay. Oh, and there's an empty space right here.
What does your closet look like, dude?
Somebody was like, dude, you fold your socks? I'm like, you don't, you weirdo. Yeah, I just throw my socks in a drawer. And I'm like, how do you survive? Like, what do you...
One of your sets in dirty jersey.
Me and my wife share
We have a
socks.
sock basket.
No.
No, we're done. We just that's
No.
nightmare. And guess
Don't even
what?
match.
And guess what? All of our socks from all of our family is in this basket.
Oh. No, I was telling one of my clients, like when I would do homework back in high school, like I'd do math and I'd write out an equation. I could be on, it was 20 problems. I could be on problem 20. And if I did something wrong, I didn't like eraser marks, I'd throw it away and start all over again. It was bad. It was bad. That's why it takes me forever to do stuff sometimes. Okay. So if we draw that down, so we can just write out, well, we'll start with the poll, since it's our main one.
I don't like eraser marks.
No, because it means I messed up. So it's like I could have turned in perfect paper, which means I knew it and I never messed up. Yeah. Well, that's why like I got good at it where I could start doing it in pen and I wouldn't mess up as much. But because in pen you're like, okay, I can't mess up. So you think more. Nonetheless. So I Tigra.
I was happy if I made it all the way to school. I know.
I ran away from school once.
You said you ran away from school once?
Yeah, it was like I think kindergarten or first grade. My mom dropped me off. I got out of the car and immediately just sprinted and ran away.
That's my worst nightmare.
I got a few blocks away. My mom was
That's
sprinting
like
after me.
Kindergarten. I ran away from school like every day in high school.
High school.
I thought it was like, wait, you actually did school? No.
Okay.
You ran away in kindergarten.
So with the poll, since pull-ups are main goal, and let's say it takes them a while to get there, we could say right here our main goal is pull-up. Okay. So now that's a standard pull-up. So now since I already showed you the chart, I would go back a month and I would be like, okay, so this is where I'm going to do my assisted pull-ups. And then I could go back a month or 3 months and I could do the isometric pull-ups. And then I could go back and then I could do the eccentric pull-ups or the negatives. At the same time, too, a different way I could go about it is if it's like, well, 3 months doing eccentrics is a long time. They're probably going to progress faster. You can just do it this way, where like here I'll do lat pull downs. I'll do like a pull down progression. So we'll go, we could go close grip pull down, wide grip pull down, and then single arm pull down. And then we'll get into kind of our tempo stuff. So now we'll go eccentric, isometric, assisted. And then here, now we're in the body weight. And now this is what, so like the first one we just wrote out would be like if they could only get to 1 by the end of the year. But I feel like they get there faster, especially if you use this. So then I'd be like, okay, this month we're going to work for 1 to 3 normal. And then we'll go 3 to 5 normal. And then we'll go 5 to 8 normal. And then you test week, you'll see if they can get 8 to 10 maybe. And then once they hit 8 to 10, now you're in your weighted. And now you just do the same thing. Weighted. 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 Wait. Wait. Lizard. 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 You haven't seen that one? No? Okay. This one's just like a little meme or something. It's like a lizard hitting a button that says lizard, and he just goes lizard, 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 lizard. Oh, yeah, I digress. Yeah. So that's your progression. That's what I would use. So now you have a whole year's potential, and then if they're slower than that, then it's longer than a year. And there's your pull up. That's your vertical pull. So I might write in here as well, let's wrap the text so it fits in the box. And then you go here and you just type in vertical. And boom, vertical pull. And then that's your main one. So if it was a 3-day split, you're doing that once a week. So that's Wednesday is what I would do it. But then if you're doing 40, what is it going to be a 3-day program?
No, she works out twice a week.
Okay, so it's going to be a 3-day program. So we can make it 2, but we'll do 3. So then that'll be like my Wednesday. Okay.
She does not do homework.
She doesn't do homework?
No.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It's an avatar, so you know. So now we need to come up with like horizontal pulls.
Joyce.
And then we need to do horizontal pull 1. So when I do horizontal pulls, so like I was saying, you know, let me do it over here real quick. So if I had Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we're doing that squat, hinge, lunge, push, pull, carry, or we're at the pull. So I'll do a horizontal, and then on one horizontal day, I go heavy. So like think like double arm barbell, stuff like that. Then you go vertical, and then I do horizontal again, and then this will be like more volume. So that'll be like cable, dumbbell, single arm stuff. And then that makes it easy to build that out. So now we know we need to come up with 2 vertical or horizontal pulls. So we'll have a heavy pull, and then we'll have a volume pull. And then if we, oh no, let's do it this way. Okay, so you could just break it down like we said, like if we did it the same way, you know, your heavy pull. Let's start with seated cable rows. Those are going to be heavy, and then we'll go TRX rows, light for volume. And then you just kind of add progressions. So like we saw in the slides, it was adding complexity or different things. So then from the seated, let's go bent over row. And then from here, we're going to go inverted row. And then we go over again. And then the next month, bent over row, let's go incline row. And then here, let's go cable row. Or no, we'll go dumbbell. Yeah, let's go cable. So I think you can, depending on where you put it, like I could have made that cable and I have a different program, a different progression. And then the last one, cable, and then I said dumbbell. And then, oh no, I need a 4th one. Give me a 4th one. We did cable rows heavy, bent over rows heavy, incline rows heavy. What's a good heavy landmine? Thank you.
Yes.
There you go. So there you go. Now you have that. And then if you wanted, like we did with the pull-ups, you know, you could go here. So like what I might do is same kind of idea. You know, I'll go wide grip row. Oh God, the lowercase w. Close grip row. Or let's reverse it. Let's go single arm row, wide grip row. No, close grip because I want balance or contrasting, and then wide grip row. And I have a progression for each month with the cable. And then TRX, we could go to standard, so normal. Then you could go feet elevated, and then you could go single arm. And then now for your row, you have single arm in the first and then single arm at the end. And now that's taken care of. And you have 3 months of rows done for 2 different days. Bent over row. You could do dumbbell first, and then we'll go to barbell. And then we can go to pendlay if you want it, because that'll be a little bit more power specific for that 3rd month anyways. And then inverted, same kind of idea as the TRX. You can go normal, feet elevated, and then single arm. Okay, that one's done. Incline row. Incline rows, you can go normal double arm, and then you can go alternating, where you row one side, row the other side, and then you go single arm. And then the cable row, let's go half kneeling, split stance, and then rear foot elevated low row. And now you have that month done, or that program. And then landmine, you could go T-bar, so that's like with the ring. And then you could do bent over single arm. So that's with it like behind you, and then you're rowing here, bent over single arm. And then the last one I would do, and just because Ryan doesn't like it, we'll do the meadows last. And then dumbbell row, we could go 3 points. So that's with the like knee and hand on the bench, 3 points of contact. Then you could do like a lawnmower style, where now you're trying to maybe you have your hand, but both feet are on the ground, and you got a little bit of rotation in there. And then I would end with the one of my favorites is like the bird dog. So now you're on the bench, one leg in the air, rowing at the same time. And then now we have a whole year's worth of pulling set up, vertical and horizontal. And then now you just take this, like if you look at that sheet, horizontal, and then just throughout the months you plan it. And then obviously we'd have to figure out sets, reps, and all of that, and load, but that comes later. Yeah. Yeah. So, like I was saying, so now if we zoom back out, where are we at on time? Okay, we could probably, where I'm at on battery, 6%. Okay, crunch time. So now, as you can see, we have like the whole year of rows and poles built out. We did the vertical pole first because that's the main goal, and then we just kind of added variety and variation to keep people interested as you go. So now we could do similar things. So if I took all this, okay, what's messing me up is this guy right here. We'll get rid of him. Go away. So we just grab all this, 4C, and now we can do the same thing with our poles. So we could go horizontal push, incline push, vertical push. And you just kind of rinse and repeat and do the same things. And again, like this is just where your knowledge of exercises and the variety you want to add or the client's goals, and you could do this all day long and figure things out. But you get the idea. Like everybody got the idea. It's pretty basic, pretty easy. So horizontal push. So what's kind of their end goal if you had one for this avatar on horizontal, like bench press, push up?
She's actually pretty strong with her bench.
Barbell. I'll just say barbell's the end goal.
Yeah. I mean, she can. Yeah, if you want to pick something, yeah, barbell. She can. Like,
okay.
This particular person can barbell bench pretty good already.
Barbell bench press.
Yeah.
Then we go back and do dumbbell bench press. Then I could go back and do cable chest press. And then I'd go back and do for like dips, I would maybe just do those as like the incline option early on. So you'll see why in a second. And then, but you can add them at the end too. Like I said, it's whatever you want to do. And then push up. So now push up, we could start with TRX. Then we could go normal, and then we could go weighted. Or some type of, or we'll just write resisted. So if you want to do bands or plates, you could do that. And I have that taken care of. Chest press, you could go seated with the cables, and then you can go standing single arm, and then you can just split stance rotational, where it's more of like a punch. And I have that. Dumbbell bench press. We can start with a floor press so they can learn depth. Then we can go to bench. And then we can go to last one being, we could do alternating, we could do single arm. So let's just do alternating here. And then barbell, last one. Barbell, we could do grip changes, or you can just make it all weight and keep it consistent. So let's make it interesting. Let's do pause reps. And then we could do close grip. And then we'll finish with normal bench press. And I have bench press taken care of. Now incline. So this is where I was saying like here, because it parallel with the push up, we could do dips. So we can go bench. We don't have a dip bar right here. No. Well, let's say they had access to like the dip bar or like the assisted machine. So you go bench, and then you can go like assisted, and then you could go assisted / dip bar, and then you could finish with weighted or body weight if they're doing the assisted. And then vertical push. So I like, again, probably shouldn't have started at the beginning, because if you start at the beginning and you progress too quickly, you don't know where you want to end. So it's always best to start where you want to end. So let's say here we want to finish with barbell shoulder press. And then the incline, let's finish with landmine press. Working back, and then you just work backwards. Okay, dips, barbell. We could work. I'm gonna put landmine here so we can just get a little bit of variety, and then we're gonna do dumbbell here. Boom, and then incline, barbell incline press, dumbbell incline press, and oops. Oh, I did them backwards. Hold on. Hold on. Barbell shoulder press. What did I say? Your landmine press, and then dumbbell shoulder press. And then here, like if they don't start with dumbbells, like you could do dumbbells here, or like one I might start with is just doing like different variations of like front raises, whether it be so we'll do like shoulder raises. So you could do TRX, dumbbell, and then plate. So you could do TRX like Y's, dumbbell front, lateral, and then you could do the plate overhead raise. And now you have your shoulders taken care of for that month. Add complexity, so we could go seated, standing, and then push press. That one's done. Landmine press, so you could go tall kneeling or full kneeling, half kneeling, and then split stance. And then barbell shoulder press. So this is where you can kind of do the same concept we did with the barbell bench press. We could do pause reps, grip changes. With this though, I know I want to end with a push press. So then working back, we could go strict press or military press. And then here we could do like just like a tempo, or if we had the blocks, you could do like a block press where maybe they don't have to go all the way down. They just start here and press it up. So I'll just say tempo press. And I have the vertical taken care of for a year, and then landmine. This will be the last one we do, and then we'll get into the other ones as we go, or I can just build it all out, and we can just move on with the slideshow. But then landmine, that's why I did the landmine there. So now you can just continue the progression, but maybe just go in there. So now we could do like a standing single arm, where they're just pressing. Then we can go rotational single arm. And then just for fun, we could do a rotational pull to press. So they start at the ground, pull, and then finish with the press. And then now you have the landmine, and then we just got to do this. So incline, we could do normal, alternating, single arm, barbell. We could go normal, low incline, and then speed. And boom. Now you have all your upper body push-pull set out for the year. Done. That's where we'll stop for now. And then I got to pull this down. Oh, there's an extra row. So you could delete that. And then if you want to like help see it better, you can do this and then go like this. And then now it's all blocked out. Let's make it a thick bold. So like I said, I could do this all day. And then you go in here, make them change the font for the thickness, all. And we'll go back to that and make it big. Now I'm just having fun. And then we just pull the test week down. Boom. Yeah, I'll be done in a minute here. And boom, there you go. And now it's all like outlined out. And I have your push pulls. And like I said, you just, when you're at the month, you just take that variation, plug it into your weekly thing or your daily thing, and then you add the sets and reps. So like since we have the hypertrophy up there, I guess we'll go. I've got 3%, so my power off here. But like, you could say we want this section to be for hypertrophy 6 to 10 reps for the main lifts. And then strength, you've got like 2 to 6 reps. And then power, 1 to 5 reps. And then peaking, you go 3 to 5 reps. Boom. And then now you kind of have your rep scheme, and then you add sets and all that as you go. And then, like I said, we can do the same for squat. Then you just do the same for squats, single leg, and then core. And then you have it all built out. And then you're done. Basically for the year. And then it's depending on how you want to do it, you could just read it. Or if you want to actually write it out in like a sheet, you could do all that. So yeah, that's that.
Cool.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that program.
In 15 minutes. See, it doesn't take long. The hard part is just knowing progressions and having like a general template in your head. So then you can just progress quickly. But once you kind of do it a few times and you know kind of like I got to start from stable to unstable to complex, that's kind of what I did in the 3 little subcategories. It was like the most stable, instability, and then complexity. That's kind of the basis for it all. 4 o'clock?
I'm gonna go home and I'll text you.
Okay, I'll go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym anyways too, so I'll be around for another hour. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I just gotta talk to them.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yay.
Well, I hope for the digital people it was informative, because I know we're doing a lot of stuff on the computer at the end, so I don't know how much they were able to see. But
Hope it was informative for you.
All right, y'all.
Bye, Marco.